you talked earlier about friends that you had met in the seminary that had discerned out. Was it difficult seeing them leave?
Yes, of course. That process, perhaps I don't know if you can invite someone in your show to share that experience because it's tough. It's tough. I would, in my conversations with them, I kind of equated that to breaking up with a girlfriend.
Okay.
Because it's something that you had so many desires for. You saw a future.
Oh, you were making
You
plans.
were making plans,
Yes.
and I mean, everything that you were living was, when I become a priest, blah blah.
Oh,
So, and then finally, there's shadows. There's darkness. It's like what's happening now to myself. Where am I
yes.
supposed to go? I mean, it is easier, I would say, I would use the word easier for those seminarians who leave because they found out that they were meant to do XYZ.
Yes.
But it becomes tougher, more difficult for those who they just know that the Lord is not calling them,
It's not right
but
for
they
them.
don't
Yeah.
know what's coming for them.
Oh,
They're
yes.
just sure that they're not going to become priests.
You're
So
right. Yeah.
that's really tough. So I experienced like both cases with
With
this
friends.
friends.
Wow, you're
So
right. It is like that. Like you break up with a girl
yeah,
and you don't know who the next, who your
yeah,
future girlfriend is. Like, okay,
yeah.
turns out I'm not going to marry her
You're
after
just
all.
alone. You don't see
Yeah.
yourself with anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
So it's tough. But now all these friends are super happy. They're married.
Of course.
They're married, and
It just wasn't for them
yeah,
and they found what was for them
that's right.
eventually.
That's right. That's right. And
But
you
it must
know,
be tough for you to see them go.
of course, of course. Yeah, it's tough because you kind of have the priesthood as a link,
Yes.
with his friends, and then suddenly that link is not there. Uh, but if there are your friends, then you're gonna find other links too.
Yes.
Other ways to connect, and that's what has
One
happened to
thing
me.
that one of the deacons that was on the show said, the nature of your relationship will forever change. You
Hmm.
will be father and they will be, a layperson.
That's right.
Instead of the two of you coming up together, having this bond
Hmm.
together as being seminarians, and
That's right.
you were looking forward to your time together as
Yes.
priests together,
Yeah.
and that must be very, very difficult.
Yes, yes, it is. But by the grace of God, um, I think if you're good friends, all you care is about
What's
our
best?
what's best, our holiness and our joy, right? And so that's what we're aiming, and we help each other. And well, even like my friend Tony, he was discerning, but he never went into the seminary. He got married
Yes.
and to Marilyn. I became the godfather of their
That's awesome.
two daughters,
That
and he called me father. And I'm like, I don't say anything, but at first, I was like, oh, I guess I
That must
am.
be odd, yes, because you
Yeah.
you you had a relationship with these people already, and
Yes.
then you suddenly you're
Yeah.
your father.
Sometimes, not every time, but I at first thought that it was when there were people around.
Uh-huh.
But the other day we had lunch and he calls me father. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, Tony.
Because he's so used to calling
All
you
right,
just,
son.
Rick by
Yeah.
your first name, and
Yeah. Funny that we're talking about this, how people address you and whatnot. I definitely love, when people call me father, right? It's just,
uh-huh,
and now that I'm again devoted to Saint Joseph, call me father. I love it.
as a
Um,
meaning, a deeper meaning, the
yeah,
word father.
of course. But what I find interesting is it's taking me a lot of it's very it's becoming very difficult for me to call somebody my daughter, my son.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's because I feel young and I don't know. But I don't know. you know what I mean.
Yes,
If I
yes,
call you, oh, don't worry, my son. Maybe in English it sounds awkward, but in Spanish it's more natural. But
yes,
I still
yes.
have that. So that's something that a grace that I'm still waiting for the Lord to give me, because I really would like to respond in that manner, right? Because people consider me their father, their spiritual father,
Yes.
and I just want to correspond, and I do, right, with how I speak to them. But that word, I think, when the Lord gives me the grace to
Son,
naturally say that, it's going to bring me a lot of
you got
joy.
me thinking now, because in the Philippines, they still use the Spanish word, "Hijo." They still call you
Right,
that in
hijo.
the Philippines.
Oh
A
yes.
lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Mexico as well. So,
yeah.
but that's a grace that I'm asking for and that I'm waiting for. Maybe Saint Joseph can help me
You
with
still
that.
feel a little too young at heart, is that what it is?
Maybe, yeah. And you know what? The thing is, I look younger than my age, and so people constantly remind me of that. And so it's
Mm,
not that I feel young; it's just like people make me feel
they
that.
make you feel
Yeah.
younger. It must be very difficult for priests who went straight into the seminary out of high school, and they come out really young.
Yeah.
Like, like Father David Michael at St. Faustina, or one of the deacons, Deacon Joseph, like, who went in right out of high school.
Hmm.
That must be very difficult to say, "Son, my daughter," or something like
Yes,
that,
that's true.
them being so young.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.